Hello and welcome, family, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How are you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms, in your own narrative, in your own story. Special shout out to our Patreon family. Thank you so much for supporting us on that platform. If you'd like to support the channel, family, and help us to continue to give this message, definitely consider joining our Patreon for as little as $2 a month. Now, I got an email from someone who wanted me to comment on this breakthrough decision that was leaked from the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court has actually voted to overturn the abortion rights. And there's so many angles to this story, because this literally, family, symbolically, what this represents is the bringing down of a principality. And this principality in question that is being brought down is Moloch. And Moloch was worshipped back in the day by our enemies back in the day, the Canaanites or whatever you want to call them. I mean, all these names have just been juggled up. But the enemies of our souls used to worship Moloch. And the Moloch was worshipped through child sacrifice. I'll get into that a little bit later on. But the interesting thing about this case is usually a Supreme Court decision they're saying like this is one of the few, if not the very first, Supreme Court decisions that has been leaked. And we know that has been done on purpose by those, because basically like the cabal, the Illuminati, the ones controlling things from behind the scenes, this is one of their gods. And they have leaked this on purpose because, family, even as I was looking for this article, as I was trying to do more research from the email that I got, it was so hard. The first like 2-3 pages on Google were all about opinions of how women's rights are being taken away. And this is a great affront. Women will no longer be in control of their bodies. I mean, they make us think like sex is a necessity. It's not, family. It's an option. In fact, it's a highly spiritual practice that is being misused to keep very many people in some serious bondage. Because all the thing that traps you and makes you heavy, that gives you gravity, is contamination. Contamination of the mind, contamination of the spirit, and contamination of the body. So, of course, this has been leaked on purpose, and they're trying to sway public opinion. And what happens, because and the reason I'm even bringing this up is because abortion is something that was started by Planned Parenthood, which is part of the neo-Nazi, depopulation agenda. Please do your research. And it's penetrated the whole world, family. And so in order to bring this principality down, you have to bring it down where it started, which is the divided states. And this whole thing, remember the show I did the other day where I talked about how Jeff Bezos' wife had given something like 200 million or something to Planned Parenthood, and it was mainly going to help black mothers. So this is something that they have been doing low-key, that they made it feel like, first they over-sexualize a nation, the world in its entirety. And then as people contaminate themselves, bringing in all kinds of demon children or trying to bring in all kinds of demon children, they now bring in women's rights and feminine rights. And it's just like when you look at the numbers of how many children are aborted every year, family, even daily, you can see why the principality has given so much power to those that rule the world with the left hand, as they would say, or from behind the scenes. And it's important. There's a scripture actually that I saw, and it's really important. Remember, the scriptures are ours. I don't have anything against the Bible. What I have a problem with is how the narrative has been manipulated. There are 66 books at least that were kept out of the Bible. If you're into the whole scriptures thing, check out the Apocrypha, which shows a lot of these hidden books, the Book of Jubilee, the Book of Enoch, etc., etc., etc. Stories for other days. But basically, family, Moloch was this ancient ancient god, and he was represented in the 18th century. He was depicted as a bull with the hands up, and I think you've seen some Masons do this sign. I'm not a Mason, I'm just showing you guys, come on, do that sign, and he had a bull head, etc., etc. Moloch has been figuratively used in reference to a person or a thing which demands or requires a very costly sacrifice. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was a picture, if it's here, then it hasn't been scrubbed from the internet, of Obama's, of Barack family, rocking up to some party in a Moloch costume. You think that was just for play? You think that was just Halloween, like let's get it on? Some heavy, heavy rituals are being done behind the scenes. And for me, what this shows on a spiritual level is that this principality called Moloch is being shot down. And you could look at all the legalities. Please do the research. They're saying that if they were to, make abortion illegal in the divided states, it would not, what would basically, or to overturn abortion rights, the decision would go now to the individual states, and they would be the ones deciding, whether to allow abortion rights, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there's so many nitty-gritties, but it's not about that. It's not about that. It's about the fact that this principality is being brought down. And this is one of those signs of how the spiritual warfare that is ongoing above us is now starting to penetrate the 3D. And trust and believe, family, that this story was leaked on purpose to try and influence the decision, because apparently, I think, so this was the draft, and so between now and when they sign it, you best believe there's a lot of manipulation on those judges, because one or two judges can change their minds, which would overrule this. So there's a great war going on, family. And never look at never look at the story as to what they're telling you, but look at what they're not saying. And what they're not saying is that this is a major spiritual battlefront. They're trying to make it about women's rights and women controlling their bodies. It has nothing to do with that. It's about cutting off a supply, another pipeline of their supply, and weakening this quote-unquote God. And yeah, there was that scripture that I wanted to share with you guys, family, which talks about, one second, and it talks about, because Moloch appears very heavily in the book of Leviticus, and the book of Leviticus was basically like the laws, from the tribe of Levi, who are the high priests, etc., etc. And it says, moreover, thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth of his seed unto Moloch, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. I also will set my face against that man, and will cut off from among his people, because he hath given of his seed unto Moloch, to defile my sanctuary, and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do at all hide their eyes from that man, when he giveth of his seed unto Moloch, and put him not to death, then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go astray after him, to go astray after Moloch from among their people. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is a curse. And one of the ways that Babylon has gotten us to mash ourselves down, you see, because maybe them, according to their code, they can, their women can have these rights and they can do this. But us, as sun people, as custodians of Mama Earth, as a royal priesthood, as the original bloodlines, we are operating on a different code. We're part of nature, and we have no right to sacrifice any part of nature. People need to have the discipline before instead of committing sin after. And that's how Babylon has entrapped so many, by getting them to continuously curse themselves. Like, this was a big deal, because it was all about defiling the temple of the Most High. And guess what? Mama Earth is the temple of the Most High. You are a mini Mama Earth, which makes you a temple of the Most High as well. And that's why we're always told, come out of her. Separate yourselves, because we can't live by the same code as them, because we suffer different consequences. And so a lot of them are a lot of our people, family, are entrapped in poverty and despair, because they have continuously cursed themselves by committing sin and thinking it's all right, it's human rights, it's this and that. It's deception, it's a lie. You will suffer the consequences of your actions. Karma is real. And this was where ignorance comes to. Ignorance is death, family. Ignorance is death. Ignorance is a life of suffering. Ignorance leads to what we're seeing on the motherland and across the world with our people. That is what ignorance is. But what we're seeing here is the fight to bring down a major principality. And so I pray that you will stand with me in prayer, family, that the spirit of Moloch, the principality of Moloch, the false god, may be brought down in this time once and for all, to help to set our people free by removing our people from the path of sin into the true path of destiny. Tukopa moja. Wake up, Africa! One thing I do want to add, family, to this story is the fact that not only is it showing that the principality Moloch is being brought down, but it also, wow, listen to that, but it also is confirmation that the feminine principle, the feminine, the great mother is back. Like, spiritually, her vibe is starting to penetrate the entire world. And you can see it by these male principalities, which are anti-women. Because we never hear about the psychological effects and how so many women have been messed up in the head from such decisions. Maybe it's more our women, because as I told you, we're in a different code. But it definitely shows you that the spirit of the great mother and the spirit of the female Messiah is well and truly permeating through the earth, and the woman is being returned to her rightful and sacred place.